to Ideas with Impact podcast. Today I'm joined by Falen Reid, a holistic healer and wellness facilitator whose own healing journey led her to help others reconnect with their bodies, their energy, and their inner wisdom. Through her work, she creates space for deeper transformation, awareness, and healing. Hello, Fallon.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm super excited to hear your story and to hear your journey because this is all everything this is what's all about. It's about us sharing our transformations and how we step into our own selves and how we end up helping others, right, when they're on their journey of self-healing, self-discovery, self-development, whatever it is. So yeah, can
I'm so
you
grateful to be here.
yeah, thank you. Can you take us back to the moment in your life um begin to shift towards healing and wellness?
So when that all kind of started for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in 2020, I had a near-death experience that pretty much woke me up and completely changed the trajectory of my life or what I thought it was going to look like. Um, at that time, it was COVID. We were all locked down, and I had not been working for a time. I was working at the casino as a bartender, and I was very much in that scene, in that party life, drinking and just that's what I did. I hung out with friends and we drank. And when COVID happened and everything got shut down, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was always buried in work, or I was partying with friends on weekends. And when that happened, it kind of just snowballed and I started to do it a lot more. And we're like, okay, we got time off, might as well drink. What else are we going to do? And at that point, my body just came to a tipping point and it just said enough is enough. And I ended up having a major allergic reaction, which I've never had allergies in my life. I woke up one morning and my face just swelled right out. Everything was swollen. I had rashes all over my body. I got rushed to the hospital and they gave me EpiPens and Benadryl and at that point, the first time in the hospital, because I got rushed to the hospital 3 times in 2 days for the same thing. The swelling just kept going and I wasn't coming back down. I almost died in the hospital. My blood pressure just plummeted at one point, and I remember the doctors just coming over me and they flipped the bed upside down to get the blood rushing back into my heart. And I remember thinking to myself as I'm fading away, because it started to get spotty, it started to get light, and I just kept saying, I'm not dying today, I'm not dying today, I'm not dying today.
Mm.
And I came back to, I don't remember too much after that point. But when I came out of the hospital, they had put me in touch with a allergist, and they told me to start to take medication to help with the swelling and help with these chronic hives. I couldn't get any relief from these chronic hives. The only thing I could do was sit in a lukewarm bath with some Epsom salts, and that's the only time where I didn't want to tear my skin off. And it was very uncomfortable. And this lasted for a couple weeks. And when I spoke with the allergist, they were like, no, you need to take pills. And to me, and it's funny because I put a lot of other crap in my body, but for whatever reason, I don't like Tylenol. I didn't like Advil. I didn't like pills because I felt it was masking the problem. So I said to the allergist and I said, is there not another option? Nope. This is what you got to do. You got to take it for maybe months, days, years, however long that this lasts for. And I said, but that's not fixing it. Like we're not solving the issue here. Why is my body so inflamed? What's going on? How do I fix this? So I started to get curious and a little bit stubborn and driven and wanted to find another answer. So I started doing some research and I reached out to this lady. She's a naturopath. or a nutritionist, my apologies. And we started working together, and she said to me, she's like, Fallon, we need to get rid of gluten. We need to get rid of dairy, processed sugars and foods.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to, I smoked cigarettes for 20 years. I drank a lot of alcohol. This is also something that caused a lot of inflammation in my body. She's like, you gotta get rid of all that caffeine. And I was like a coffee drinker, had my coffee with my smoke in the morning. That was my routine. Um, so at that point, I started making big changes. The diet started first, and I noticed some significant differences, and my body
Mm-hmm.
started to clear up. The rashes started to go away. And I just noticed my energy levels started to switch. And I was like, wow, like I don't even remember the last time I actually felt this good. And then I quit drinking, I quit smoking, quit drinking coffee, started incorporating herbal teas into my diet, and just a lot more fruits and vegetables and whole foods. And wow, what a shift. I had never felt so good. And at that point, it was exhilarating. It was exciting. I was like, I'm really doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's when I found yoga. And I actually started teaching myself yoga through some YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get up every morning, do that. And I started doing strength training, and I started to get out into nature and just walking almost daily and just really connecting with everything around me. And it was life changing. I didn't even know the person in the mirror anymore, but I liked who this person was, and I didn't want to give it up. And from then on, it kept going. But the thing that happened is when I started to get rid of all these little vices, I was faced with my trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happened, it's like, oh, how do I deal with this? Because I was so used to just burying everything. I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of resentment. I didn't cry very often. I didn't know how to process my emotions. Um, so that started all bubbling to the surface.
So
And
that was your like a pivotal moment in
yes.
your life when you're like,
Hmm.
okay, something needs to, yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. It completely, like, it's wild if you look, 6 years ago or 7 years ago till now, it's a 180, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So why do you think we humans
Hmm.
um, don't want to look into our traumas? We mask it. We I always call it in every episode that I talk to or every person that I speak to, I'm like, we always put our shit into this Pandora box. Why do
Mm.
we why do we do that? What are we afraid of?
It's out of fear. I think it's out of fear. It's fear of the unknown, you
Mm,
know? Fear of vulnerability, fear of being seen in
judgment.
in in that
Mhm.
vulnerable state. I feel, as society, a lot of times we're so conditioned as we're younger, and it's like, suck it up, or, you know,
Mm,
um, we don't have space to process, or, you hear people, oh, don't be a crybaby, or you're too sensitive, or, and that really sticks. I feel like that sticks with a lot of people. And, I feel there's a shift. I feel there's a big shift happening, and people are starting to become aware of that, and
mhm,
starting to kind of look more inward and retrain our brains into thinking differently, which is fabulous.
mhm.
But yeah, that's what I would say. The world can be a scary place at times, and
Right.
it's like our idea of this armor. We need to be strong. We can't be vulnerable, and it's actually the opposite. There's so much strength in vulnerability.
Yes.
And think of how hard it is to be open and vulnerable versus holding everything in and holding back. I
Mhm.
think it's a lot more difficult to be able to do that and face that, but we have this idea that strength is holding it in. And
Yeah, and holding on to that armor and holding on to that strength, like you call it, in quote,
mm,
creates a disease, creates these kind of reactions like you have. Do you think that's a correlation of what was
Oh,
happening?
100%. 100%. I think stress, I think any traumatic events that happen in our life that we didn't have the time to sit. And I don't really like to say process because
Mhm.
actually somebody brought this to my attention and I love it because process I feel has an ending. But sometimes healing doesn't always have an ending. We may be able to peel away layers and we may be able to find growth in that. But it might
Mhm.
come back again and we might see a different perspective or a different layer that needs healing later on. So I don't always see as healing as an ending. I think it's a journey,
Mhm.
and it goes up, down, all around, right? Or even in that spiral, we're kind of always coming back around.
Life is a journey.
Life is
Healing
a
is a
journey.
journey. And it's it's the same thing with me. Like I dip my toes in the spiritual um world or the spiritual awareness, awakening, or same thing, opening that Pandora box about 8 years
Mhm.
ago now. And
Mhm.
was it scary? Shit, yeah, it was scary. I was scared shitless. But with the determination, help from friends and things like that, I really am so grateful that I went through what I went through and where I am today.
Mm.
I would never, never, ever would not want to go through this. Like, I think this is the point where it made me realize of what I was capable of, how I, through my process, can help others, and so on. So yeah, yeah,
Mm. I really feel that.
yeah. What was the
Yeah.
moment for you when you realized that you couldn't go back to who you were before?
I don't know if there's one defining moment for that. I think my past life will come up every once in a while and it'll peek its way through and it's like, hey, I'm still here.
Mhm.
And, and sometimes comfort levels, right? So I might dip my toe in a little bit and I
Yep.
might be like, oh, but then I realize, and then I'll have those moments. Oh wait, no, I don't want to go back there. But it's hard when you've had a life where this is what you knew. This is all you've known. And then you completely change and you completely shift. And it's like, wow, you sometimes you want to kind of pull back. And sometimes you're like, oh, wow, this is big. This is expansive. This is scary. This doesn't feel natural in my body because I'm used to the chaos and, the trauma and all that stuff right back there. And, you know, um, it comes up. So I don't know if there's one defining moment, but
Mhm.
there's multiple little ones and I'll be tested. And within that,
Yep.
then I'm going to be like, hey, no,
Yep.
we like this better. Stay here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what you just said because awareness is everything. And
Oh,
again,
huge.
it's not like closing the door to the past because we lived it and it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
be like, you know what? It's okay. I accept it. I
Mm-hmm.
forgive and I look at it and like you said, I don't want to go back there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like going through, or being conscious, being aware of not wanting to go back there and it's pulling you back to where you are right now and you're like, okay, I want to move forward. I want to see what
Mm-hmm.
else the journey brings, right? Even though
Yeah.
it's scary, even it's the unknown, but I'm excited for the journey. I'm
Yeah.
so happy. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I get so excited too. And I think that's the thing that keeps me going is to just, I look back and like, look at all the different shifts. Look at all the things that have happened. Like,
Yep.
I don't know what's around the corner. Like, you
Yep.
know, I never in my life until I've had like these shifts been so excited just to like about life,
I know,
and
same. Yeah.
right. And I love living in that awe feeling.
Mhm.
Um, and just that gratefulness, like that's another thing. And coming back to being grateful. Like sometimes I'll trail off and I'm human and I have, ebbs and flows, but
Mm-hmm.
my downs are never as down as I ever was before. But
Right.
I always come back to these points of just like, even when I might be going through something and I'm like,
Mm.
okay, bring me back to this gratefulness, find this gratefulness in my heart. And then it just radiates through my body. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're in this vibration again. We're feeling like good. Like, let's go, Anyways. Yeah.
I love it. I love that. How
Mhm.
did your own healing journey shape the work that you do today?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Um, it sent me on a work, like me discovering maybe like the different modalities that I offer now, me discovering these alternative medicines was like blew my world apart.
Mm,
Absolutely blew my world apart. I had been exposed, not exposed. I don't know if exposed is the right word, but there's been little breadcrumbs of this
mm,
stuff throughout my life, but I never really like I had friends like, Fallon, you should get into this. It feels like some of the people around me kind of knew me better than myself at that point. And I never really got into it. But then when I went on my healing journey, um, I went to this one retreat and I started working on myself and I was exposed to Reiki. I was exposed to sound healing,
mm,
um, all kinds of different modalities, breath work. And I never had so many profound shifts in my life. Like it brought a whole new level of awareness for myself.
mm,
It brought so much stuff to the surface that I had been holding on to and gave me space to just
mm,
be and release and be in that moment and feel whatever I needed to feel that maybe I didn't have time to feel before. It was just I was so excited. I was
mm.
so excited after learning these, after experiencing that. And I was like, I need to bring this to the world. Like, I need to bring this. People need to know about these things. And I wore red on purpose to try and also keep me grounded today. Red for the root chakra. We wore some blue for communicating, and then I got my orange
Yep.
for like creativity. So I was intentional in the way I dressed today. But anyways, I'm still trying to keep grounded in the moment.
No, it's okay. Listen,
Yeah.
having a conversation like this and being open, it's totally okay. You know,
Yeah.
I truly appreciate that in people when, they are excited about life and they're excited
Mhm.
about the stories that they have to say or
Mhm.
share with others. So what you are saying is, it resonates with me, and
Mhm.
if it resonates with someone else, it's a door opener kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which modality did you find the most, um, not the most, but that resonated with you the most?
I'd have to say, I'd have to say sound healing.
Okay.
Um, I think I had my most profound breakthrough with sound healing.
Mm.
Um, should I go into it a little bit?
Yes, I was about to
Yeah.
ask
Okay.
you,
All
yeah,
right.
how and how did you discover that? What happened?
Yeah. So my first experience with sound, I didn't know what to expect, right? I'm like, okay, there's going to be music. It's probably going to be calming, like really cool. And I had gone to this retreat and I was working on stuff that I needed to heal. And two of the major things in my life are my parents. I grew up with a lot of trauma around my parents and grew up in foster care and things like that. So I've held on to a lot um, of emotions there, we'll say. And so I went there to try and find peace in that, to try to let go of resentments that I hold for them and finding more understanding and compassion for them and what they've also experienced in their life and maybe never had the tools or whichever to, process what they went through or so with that being said, I went to this retreat and one of the things that were offered was this sound healing and I relaxed, I got into it. And this took me on a journey. This took me, I'm telling you, it was like some sort of psychedelic experience. And it was wild to me. And it was like you're floating in and out of this dream state. And all these different thoughts and stuff like just kind of kept coming through. And I'm like, what is going on? It was like a movie in my mind. It was very vivid. And it was really interesting. So this one blew my mind apart, is that I was traveling through my uterus and fallopian tubes and all this. And I came out and there was a baby in my womb. And I'm like, oh, okay, I have a baby in my womb. But the baby in my womb was my mother.
Oh,
And
wow.
big symbolization there, as well as like I've definitely kind of played mother role a lot in my life where she's concerned and where both my parents are concerned. So to have that and feel her, though, as if she was my child, instead of being like, why do I have to be the responsible one? Why do I have to be the adult? I had an overwhelming sense of compassion for her. And I just burst into tears. Like it just came flowing out of me. And I had so much love for her because she became my child, but
Right.
in not such a negative light. It was in a more positive light. And I was just like, wow, like this was profound. And I started to kind of just accept, in a way, the role that I had, creating boundaries, mind you, but
Yeah.
having a bit more love and compassion for that instead of holding on to all this anger and resentment. And it was just, I was like, oh my God, that's when it hit me. That was one of my, like, I got to bring this to the world. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you have a good relationship with her now?
It's better. It's
Okay.
better. We do talk daily. Um, my mom is very sick, mentally, addictions, and just physically all over. She's not doing well. Um, and I go through kind of the ebbs and flows. Sometimes it still comes up. Those little things will poke me every once in a while, but I feel like it doesn't bring me down that path now. I have the tools to be able to be like, okay, what's this feeling? Why is this coming up? Sit with it for a moment, allow it to process. I use some of my modalities and then I see it in a different light and I'm able to show up for her um,
Mm,
in a better loving space, which
mm,
has completely changed. So do we have a good relationship? It's better. It is better. I do love my mom. She can be very difficult at times. I won't lie. There's still some difficulty there. But in the space that I am in now, yes, I would say I do have a better relationship and yeah. Yeah.
I love and I appreciate what you said that, I think our parents' generation did not have these um, modalities to
Mm-hmm.
heal. So they're carrying on, like again, I'm speaking only for myself, but my parents are immigrants.
Mm,
They were born, like I'm from Poland. They were born 5 years after World War II.
mm,
So they are going through their own hardship, trauma, and you're right, they have never had these possibilities to look at this stuff,
mm.
how to heal themselves, how to heal their child trauma, I guess you can call it, you
Yeah.
know? So
Mm-hmm.
I went through something very similar with you when I did a past life regression because
Mm,
I needed to understand of, what was really deeply happening within me and my mother and why there was so much resistance and why I was going through what I was going through. And it was a very similar thing where I had to step up and first of all learn things about myself and then build these boundaries, learn certain things and understand having understanding of what my mother went through as a child
mm,
and speaking to her and again asking certain questions to clarify of how difficult it was for her. And not only that, but let's say leaving as an immigrant, leaving everything behind, leaving her home country with 2 young kids, living in another country and then emigrating to Canada, with almost same thing, nothing, almost 35 years ago. So I I understand, it's not easy. And being brought up in that myself put a lot of resistment, anger,
Resentment. Yeah.
resentment, anger,
Mm-hmm.
frustration, you know, and I think a lot of us, maybe not all of us, but a lot of people, at least the people that I talk to, have very similar stories with their parents who are born anywhere between 1950s on and so on. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, and that time, it was kind of like that suck it up and do it yourself and
It
and
was.
yeah, and it's hard to sometimes teach an old dog new tricks,
Well, that's it. That's it. But
and
again, it's always the willingness to be open and to,
100%.
not being stuck in the old mentality in a way,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Yeah.
also up to them to stay open and be open. Like I hear
100%.
all, I mean, I think my mom has changed quite a bit in the last 8 years, but I remember she used to say, I'm like, well, I'm an old tree and I can't change. In a
Mm-hmm.
way, that was a message to me, well, I don't want to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I know she is a little bit more aware, and she'll do certain things that I'm like, oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
mom, good job. I'm like, good
Yeah.
job. I love you,
Yeah.
so yeah.
And,
But
and,
I
and
think our generation is a generation where we are having that breakthrough, you
yeah,
know. So
mass awakening. Mass awakening. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I would never change that in a million years to be in this present moment right now and witnessing
Mm,
all of this, because I'm like,
100%.
how did people deal with stuff in like 15, 1800s? Like insane,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm. I
So
know. I think of that too. It's wild. It's wild. I was actually
it's
thinking of that yesterday. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I was just like, oh, how did they do it in the old times? I seen this beautiful old typewriter at a home I was at, and it just kind of brought me back. And yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for
yeah,
sharing as well too.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
I mean, that's how we heal. That's how
it
we,
is.
resonate with each other, right? And then we can share these um, stories, and then it's like we're not perfect. Things happens, life happens, and we just have to go
Hmm.
through it. Like you said earlier, we have to go inwards
Hmm.
to look at our own stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and stop blaming others or stop covering things up like, you know, medication,
Hmm.
alcohol, bad food, and covering the pain. I think once you recover the pain and once you heal, then yeah, it's a never ending journey. You just continue to be better. And then if you do have children, like I do, you tend to look at things differently and you pass on the
Hmm.
messages to them in a completely different way than my
Hmm.
parents. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when you start to break those cycles. I don't know if you
Yeah. That's
ever, there's like this little meme and they show, a parent kind of like yelling at their kid or saying something like, oh, you're not good enough for this and that. And then you see the one person stand in front of the child and just say, I love you. And it's like, you know,
yeah.
that's something as well too, is that I noticed like I had been kind of resentful and stuff with say my mom and like, oh, she didn't show up for me how I wanted her to, and she didn't do this and didn't do that, and I wish I had this childhood, and and I sat in that for a long time, but then I started to notice and I shifted that perspective, that mindset. And, she did make a change. She did make a change and she tried to make you know, um, how we grew up better. She couldn't always show up as the best, but she did make a shift. And it was pretty profound. And for example, her parents never said to them, I love you. She never heard
Oh,
those words. And her
yeah.
family like didn't show it. But my mom was very much like, I love you. I love you. Every time I get off the phone, I love you. And that was her shift. That was her shift, and that is big. That is profound. And I recognize that now, where I was like, oh, well, she won't, she doesn't show up for me how I want her to. But that was huge. And it's something that's important to me. And now I share it and I say, I love you. And yeah, so, and it was actually really neat. I got them, my aunt and my mom to say, I love you to each other. And that was really cool. But I was like, you guys both love each other. Why don't you just say it? And then they had a moment where they actually both said it and they'd never said it to each other before. And I was like, yay. It was just like, yeah,
That's
it
so
was beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. I was,
it's so important. Like I think there is so much hate in the world. There's so much confusion in the world. I think the only way that we can express it is through love,
hmm.
you know?
And and
Uh,
and just as much as there is hate, there is that duality. Sometimes it's easy to get sucked into that, especially with like
yeah.
social medias and things, and there's so much going on, and it sometimes can
Yep.
drag you in. But you know, you can find, got sometimes it look harder, but you keep training your brain to find, the joys and everything, and you'll start to see it, like retrain and keep doing it. And I work with this coach and I absolutely love what she would say. And she said, I invite this in or I reject that. So every
Mhm.
day I would say something that really felt good in my life. I'm like, oh, I invite in more of this. Like whatever feels good in my body. I'm like, yeah, I invite in more. And then something that just, I felt that discord that like, I reject
Mhm.
that. And you just start to kind of find more of the things that it's almost like that manifesting or attracting, and you start to see, because whatever we focus on in life, we're going to see
Yes.
more of that, right?
Yep.
It's going to come into our foreground. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like that
100%.
practice.
Money don't grow on the trees. Well, you're creating this energy field that you'll never have that abundance. So it's like you got to let go of that idea, right? Yeah.
Hmm. Money does grow on trees. We can just pick
That's
it,
it.
right?
That's it.
I love that.
That's it. Yeah. What does true healing means to you now? Yeah.
I think true healing for me is just breathing, having
Mhm.
space to be. That's what true healing is space to sit, space to feel, and be. And stepping into your life, stepping into that authenticity, and really truly finding what that is for you. And, starting to peel away the layers of um what maybe society as the conditions that we were that were put upon us as children, from our parents, from our peers, from society, everything like that. So I think true healing is just being able to you know peel those little layers away and find that beautiful light that's within you, that childlike light, that that ultimate feeling of just joy. And sorry, I got a hair floating around here, the and being, and just, yeah, I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
saying anything, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. Yeah. And how do you think the body holds into emotional or energetic trauma?
How do I think it holds?
Yeah.
Oh, in so many different kinds of ways. It shows up. I don't know if I'm answering this correctly, but like it shows up in the body as illnesses. It shows up as different moods. As why am I feeling so crummy today? What's going on? Oh, maybe there was something that happened in the day that triggered us, and we didn't have space to process. So you know, energy stuck energy can show up in so many ways. In pain, um oh, I've had some profound experiences with moving energy within myself. And that's when I really realized like the power that we have within us to shift out of pain, to shift into a more healed state within our body. For example, I'll give you a little bit of a story here. When I was on a different retreat, and I love just going on retreats and healing and doing all that stuff, and it's fun
It's
for me
okay. Me
too. And
too.
yeah,
Me too.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. That's my like solo travel. I'm like, I'm going to a retreat, guys. Bye. But yeah, I went on another retreat, and this was another profound moment of really understanding energy and the power we have within ourselves. So I was sitting in meditation, and I noticed pain that I had in my body that came up. So recognizing the pain was in my right side, and it was around my lung space. And it was just like really uncomfortable. So I started to connect it, and I'm like, okay, which I'm starting to like, I've learned within, at that point, I was just starting to kind of learn the body and where we hold emotions and what that might mean. So I focused on the right side. I'm like, okay, this could be my father wound. Right is your masculine. And I went into the lungs, and I'm like, okay, well, lungs is your heart space. So your heart chakra, this is a lot to do with grief. So it's the grief of my relationship with my father. As soon as I recognized that, it was like a light bulb went on, and I
Wow.
started to cry, and I focused in that pain, and I focused on releasing it. By the time I was done crying, the pain was gone. It literally just, and I was like, oh my God, I'm on to something here. And then it just kept going. And I've had other experiences with that too. And I'm like, okay, all right, pain. What's happening? What's going on? What didn't I have time to process? What's coming up here? And I've sat in it, and I recognize what it is. What's the emotion? Where is it in my body? And I'll cry. I'll create space, and I'll be like, okay, we're going to move this. We're going to move this. Crying's the way I move it. People may move it in other ways too, but that's how I release it in my body, and I make space for it. And
Yeah, that's one way
yeah.
to
Oh
release that
yeah.
stagnation of whatever it's holding it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
whatever you experience in your life, it showed up there, right? There is a book by Louise Hay, and
Okay.
can't remember the title right now, but it's one of it when she actually explained of certain body points
Mm-hmm.
and what it can create and how to release it, which is a fantastic book. I can
Mm-hmm.
share that with you later.
Yeah.
Um, and then share it here on the podcast as well. But it is so important to literally sit with it, and instead of again hiding, running away from it, um, like you said, I love what you just said. You sat with it and you recognize that,
Mm-hmm.
and your release was the crying, right? So you were
Mm-hmm.
releasing those emotions, those this hardship or whatever was happening there, that it made you feel at ease. It made you heal in that moment, which is so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, right? So, in your work, how do you help others release this kind of pain?
Yeah. Excuse me. I have a couple different ways that I go about it. I use Reiki and sound healing. I do one-on-one sessions with that. And so with the Reiki, I will start to scan a person's body, and I can feel where they have the blockages within their chakras. And at that point, I start to move the energy, and actually, I brought it to show you. I'll use some tuning forks as well too. So I'll use
Oh,
this in a
nice.
session. Yeah. And that'll just, oh, I love it. And it's just instant, like, just
Yeah.
instant calm. So I use
I
this
have
on.
experienced this with Shanti Deep when
Oh,
I went to
Shanti.
see
Yes.
her for a session. It was absolutely moving. Yeah,
Yeah. She's
beautiful.
fabulous. She was the sound healer that got me going.
Okay.
She was the one. Yeah, she's fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience with her. Yeah. No, that's okay. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm glad you got to experience her. Um, and yeah, and then I move through with sound. So I use my different instruments and intuitively use them. I also use them geared up to where specifically they might be blocked. So I'll use different instruments, different sounds for that. So that's a more personalized experience, which really gets in there. And a lot of times I'll have people cry within sessions, and sometimes people giggle, sometimes people move things, sometimes people get gassy, and whatever it is, we're moving the energy, and that's the whole point of it, is just releasing and finding that sense of inner peace. And so certainly through my Reiki and sound healing, I also do elemental breath work, which is really moving. You really want to get some stuff in there, out of there, and find that deeper sense of inner peace. I recommend the breath work. So elemental breath work. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So, talking about breath, because I think, and I know for myself,
Mm,
when I get anxious and I get stress, I hold my
mm,
breath in my lungs. I don't
mm.
breathe deep inside into my belly. So the question to you regarding breath work would be, what role does breath work play in healing and awareness? Like, why is it so powerful?
It's powerful because breath is life. It's our life force. It's powerful because it's an anchor. It brings us back to the present moment. We can connect with our breath. Sometimes when we get into those anxious states and we're looking too forward, or maybe we're sitting backwards, and we're focusing too much on the past. What a beautiful tool our breath is, and we have it with us all the time, every day, and we can just connect right back to that breath and just, take a moment and breathe in and exhale. And box breathing is fabulous too. So you say, for a count of four, we'll inhale. I can't talk. Sorry, I'm getting marbles in my mouth. Inhale for a count of four, hold for a count of four, exhale for a count of four, hold for a count of four. So you kind of draw that box. And this is a perfect way to calm your nervous system. And just come back to the present moment when we're just getting like overwhelmed in anything in life, in maybe an environment that we're in, or a situation, or something's popped up. Yeah, so beautiful, beautiful tool is our breath, and it can be so healing. And the elemental breath work is a little bit more intense breathing, and we purposely try to get in there, and we purposely try to shake things up.
What is it?
Um, so it's a whole sequence. So my teacher, Geo, was a student of Wim Hof. If anybody's familiar with Wim Hof, Iceman. So he works with breath and cold dips, polar dips. And so elemental breath work is a sequence. So we go into somatic movement, and we really shake everything up that might be stagnant and release it, which is resetting our nervous system as well too, like animals in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have an animal in the wild, and we'll pick a deer, and you got a mountain lion, and the mountain lion's going after this deer, and the deer gets away. Yay for the deer. And when it comes back to, a position of safety, it resets its nervous system, and then it can go back to grazing on the grass like nothing ever happened. So it's not remaining in this fight or flight. Whereas if we have an event in our life, maybe that triggers us into this fight or flight, we didn't have a minute to kind of move through it. So we continue to stay stuck in that fight or flight instead of the rest digest. So with these somatic movements, it helps us to reset and come into that rest digest, where we find that state of healing within our bodies. Because when we're in that fight or flight and constant alarm bells are going off within us, then that causes so much illness and multitude of things within ourselves. And so yes, the breath work starts with that. Then we go into different breathing techniques, and we go through the elements: earth, air, fire, water. And this is where it releases DMT in the brain, if y'all are familiar with DMT. And it triggers that breakthrough experience. It triggers a deep sense of inner peace, and just like, come back to that breath. It's just and we slip into a guided meditation and sound healing as well. So it integrates the experience. It brings you on a journey. A journey of self-love is what it really brings you to, and acceptance. And it's profound. It's deep. It's moving. I absolutely love it. I love that breath work has been a big part of my own journey, and that I get to share it too. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I when I catch myself not breathing because I'm
Mm.
stressed, because we all get stressed. We all get,
Mm.
you know, things happening in our lives. And when I notice that, I automatically be like, oh, wait, deep breathe into your belly and then release. And really, like you said, it really resets my nervous system
Mm,
to calmness right away, right? I mean, even though I'm still probably pretty stressed because of certain
mm,
situations, I'm trying to, in the way, help myself to not to get into that very high stress mode. So it
mm.
really, really works really well. I really love that. I think that's one of my favorite as well, breath work. Yeah.
It's so powerful. And the
It is.
somatics too, if you're feeling in that moment, like what I do is I'll put on a song and I'll shake my booty. I will get up
Yep.
there and I will just shake what my mama gave me. I go crazy and I don't care what I look like. And I'm telling you, you want to see the energy shift in your day and your body and everything.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way if you have the space for it to just kind of move through some stuff.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you also, you know, even if your energy is so stagnant, you are releasing that
Mm,
stagnation and kind of, you know, flowing. And even us as the divine feminine, that's
mm,
that's our thing. We move, we're soft. We, you know, I think that's what we've been missing.
yeah.
It's that softness
Movement.
in women, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%, I
Yeah.
feel that. Yeah. I
I
used to
had
do
an
dancing circles and stuff. We need to bring
oh yeah.
dancing circles back, and just like community and yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I went to a retreat, I believe it was last year, and I have experienced for the first time a somatic dance as well, and or somatic movement.
Mm,
And to be honest with you, I think the first 2 days, all the women that were there, including myself, we were self-conscious because we are like, oh my gosh, like people are looking around and you know, and you're like, you have to be in your space. On the third day, from moving into like a robotic movement, kind of like, you know, the third day, we just let go. We just went and did exactly what you just said. You're like, you just moving
yeah,
your body, releasing whatever. It's there. What a difference. What a difference.
it's so
Yeah.
powerful. It's so powerful and it's so I don't even know, I can't find the word right now, but just like invigorating and you just feel so free
Yeah.
and you don't have a care in the world when you can get past that barrier of like, oh my gosh, what do I look like? What are people thinking of
Yep.
me? It's like we're all being goofy. Just let it out, get into that inner child and and just be free and just that alone is so moving and powerful.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's amazing. That's amazing you
what
did that.
what drives you to continue your work?
Oh, watching people and the beautiful transformations. Like it's just I know it's what I'm here for. I know that's my path is to just be that trigger. Be that trigger for somebody. I ain't healing people. You're healing yourself, but I'm gonna help
Yes.
trigger you into that healing. And yeah, it's just my sole purpose. I don't know how else to say it. I could just I it's so aligned for me. I absolutely love it. I love being able to be a space for people to be vulnerable and feel that they can just be themselves and show up as messy as they need to be and without any judgment and that I'm just going to see them as who they are and with the masks down and we're going to go through it together and I can be there and I can support you. I can hold your hand through it and eventually you get to fly on your own and you get to do it yourself and hopefully help teach people the tools that they can do this in their day-to-day lives and that you know uh, yeah and just watching it I've seen so many beautiful transformations and that's just what keeps me going and I love it. I eat it up.
Mm. Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I think it's so important to have people like you to come in and have that space because sometimes people when they come in, they don't feel that safe. They
Mm,
feel this kind of, you know, I mean, we've built and again, I'm talking about we in general, we've built
mm,
so many walls and it takes it, sometimes, yes, it takes a big bulldozer to come in and rip all these bricks, but sometimes it takes, especially for us women, from my experience, those bricks were basically taken one by one because I had so much trust issues and so many things
Mm,
that was happening in my past life that I just couldn't destroy all those bricks. It was
mm,
literally one by one. And then sometimes the brick went back on, and then sometimes I would have to take two off. And but the work that you do is beautiful. You have to start somewhere, right?
yeah. Thank you. And like you were saying too, it's there's so much bravery in just even starting to break down those walls. And, it does take a lot of strength. It does take a lot of strength to face stuff that we might have been holding on to for so long. Um, but it's so friggin' rewarding. It's so
Oh,
rewarding.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Like I said earlier on, I would never ever change it. I would
Yeah.
never want to go back in there
No.
and be in that space of fear and
Mhm.
resentment and all this anger and frustration. It was the wrong way. I was going in the wrong path. Let's just say it that way.
Mm,
So I'm super
yeah.
happy where I am right now. So it's it's a never ending journey, and the journey has taught me so much, and there's still so much to learn for you probably too.
Hmm.
Um,
Always. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. I'm just feeling the energy. I'm just like, hmm. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Why is it important to heal the mind, body, and spirit together, either in a group or a community?
I think it's really important because we tend to focus, our society tends to focus on maybe one area instead of the other, but then we can't find that true balance. So, a lot of times, and not to knock it, but you go to the dentist for your teeth. You go to, your family doctor for your body. You go to a nutritionist for your diet and everything like that. And just, I feel like we get pulled in all these different directions, and rightfully so, because we need to go to people who have the expertise in these areas as well. Um, but I feel like we need all of that. We need to have all of maybe these people potentially, or just in our back pocket that can offer us ways to heal each individual, like our body, mind, and spirit as a whole. It needs to come together as a whole, or we're not going to find that harmony, that balance within ourselves. Um, your spiritual connection. Who is
Mm,
that? What is that? And I'm not saying one way or another, but having some sort of higher power, that's really important. I feel like that's really important. Something outside of, bigger than ourselves. And whatever that is for you. And then our bodies, our physical bodies, how are we treating that? What are we putting
mm,
in? How are we fueling ourselves? Our emotional bodies, that's another one. That's huge. That can cause, if we're not dealing with that, so much discord within us as well. And yeah, mentally, where's your head at? Where's your
mm.
head at? Are we walking around with like a lot of heaviness all the time, and working at creating maybe new pathways in our brain? We can retrain this. This is like a computer, you know?
Right.
What are you
It's
putting in?
hardware. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What files are you opening up? What are you consuming? What are you consuming on a day-to-day basis? That's going to affect you. Huge. Um,
100%.
so yeah, I hope I answered that the way but
Yeah,
yeah.
no, no, absolutely. I agree. And for me, community is again coming together
Community, huge.
without judgment,
Hmm.
without, having that open space for everybody to come in of who they are.
Hmm.
Um, and acceptance. Acceptance. I think this is what we're missing right now is the communities. And I
Yeah.
love the indigenous when,
Mm.
they they create these circles when people can come in, or if there is an issue, they can come into the circle and get help.
Yeah.
Um, this brings me to, again, women, when we start, our menstruation cycle, right? When that starts, that has been so shunned for these young women that they have nowhere to go, nowhere to talk to, right? Where these communities would celebrate that
Mhm.
coming into the age of becoming a woman, right? At
Mm.
age 13, 14, or whatever the age is. Um, so having these circles are so important. Having these communities is so important because it creates that safe space for us to come and feel loved, feel
Mm.
compassion,
Be
feel,
in your truth.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Finding your tribe is so important, and we need that. We need that community. We need that sense of belonging, and in any story of transformation, I feel like that's huge. It's finding places where we feel we belong, where we feel like we've found our people, and people that love and support us, and in who we are truly, when
right.
especially when we peel away some of those layers and stuff too. Uh it's starting to find those people that truly resonate with you as well too, and can take you to the next level and hold you, and then vice versa. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
so
without
important.
judgment. I love it. I love it. I mean, listen, we, especially women, are so kitty catty. It's like,
And
let
yeah.
go of, you
Yeah.
know, we all have our own journey. We all have our, you know, way to go through life. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, be who you are. I love what you said earlier, being authentic. And I think, again, through the progress of my conversations with all different kinds of people in this podcast, a lot of people say being authentic is the only way. We,
Mm-hmm.
like, we talk about communities and things like that. We will always find our own tribe, people that we connect with, people that we resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
Find that tribe, feel it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and accept it, and then kind of open up, be open.
Mm-hmm. Be open.
Don't close
Yeah.
the door. Yeah.
100%. And the more that you peel and the more you connect with like your true self, you're gonna gravitate more towards those people, and those people are gonna gravitate towards you. Like I feel,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
lost a lot of friends through this journey, for
I
sure.
feel you. Yeah.
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 It, not everybody can come with us, and and
No.
and sometimes they come back around. Sometimes they're just not ready as well too, because maybe you shock them into their truth, right? And they're like, whoa, I'm not ready to see that right now. That's a lot. But they see the transformations that you're making, and it's scary. It's that fear, right? It's back at fear. And sometimes that's what happens. And not always, but yeah.
Hmm. Well, your
Yeah.
energy shifts, right? Your energy
Hmm.
shifts, your mindset shifts, everything kind of goes in a different direction. And like you said, if someone is not ready, then they're not
Yeah.
on path, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
What is your deeper mission through your work?
What is my deeper mission?
Hmm.
It's really like, I just I want to see the world in love and happiness. Like that's just, I think I understand it's not all that, and everything's, duality, but um just for people to find that sense of inner peace, like overall, and being able to step into that more and just finding their true selves. Like I just love watching people step into that power, and when you really see them like light up, and they're glowing like children again, and just so happy to be in that state, and they're kind of in their don't give a beep. Anyways, but you know what I mean? They're just in that, like, I'm me, I'm here, this is what I'm all about, and either accept me or not. And I love seeing that for people. Yeah, I think that's just like one of my biggest missions, and being able to like sit through their healing and peel those layers away and just be true to themselves. Be true to themselves.
Mm. What do you
Yeah.
want them to remember the
Remember?
most? Hmm.
What do I want them to remember the most? Who they
Yeah.
are. Who they are. Yeah. Who they truly are before anything got to them and just kind of made them feel like they weren't accepted or weren't loved for, you know, their ideas or yeah. I think it's just I think
I love
that
the
would be it
quote
from
of someone said, it was recently, it was, we are all worthy of love.
yeah.
And that really stuck with me because we are on this mission of wanting to be loved, wanting to be
Mm,
seen.
mm,
Um, Yet because of our traumas and things like that, right? We're suppressed.
mhm. That's the word.
So I always remind people too, it's like you are worthy of everything. And if you
Hmm.
don't believe in God, you are worthy of love no matter what, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that really stuck with me, and it's also my daily reminder.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's usually like, it's those practices, right? And you know, and like it all starts with you and
right.
then it radiates
That's it.
from there. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
What excites you most about the work you're doing today?
What
What
excites me
feels
the most?
aligned? Yes.
All of
Oh,
it.
I love
Can
it.
can I pinpoint one thing? Oh God. I love it. Like I love meeting new people. I love being present through their journeys. I love um learning more about even myself through this and the energies and just that expansion and growth and oh man, there's just that's a tough one because it's just there's so much. I'm the curiosity within all this.
Yes.
There's so much curiosity. I just yeah, and really really connecting, the connection, that deep, open, vulnerable connection. That would probably be like I love that. I love just, you know, when you're completely in your truth with another being,
Mm,
there's no other feeling like it in my opinion. Just
mm.
completely being in that truth and you know, and it's not always pretty. It's really not. And it's not always, you know, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Like
Yep.
as human beings, we hold on to a lot of
Yes.
stuff that we don't want people to necessarily see. And when you can be fully seen in your
Mm.
truth, it's just ah I that's what excites me the absolute most.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Yeah.
Thank you.
How do
Yeah.
you see your work evolving in the
Mhm.
future, and what's unfolding next for you?
Ooh, okay. Um, so there's all kinds of goals. There's all kinds of things happening. I just see it. I see the growth and the expansion, and I see, you know, I want to be able to work with people more, doing retreats, having a space where I can operate out of with more individuals on a regular basis. Right now, I operate out of my home for like the one-on-ones, and I operate out in the community, which is fabulous and in different various places. But looking to have my own space, and that's the goal, and maybe someplace tropical too, like Costa Rica. We're just putting that out to the universe that I would love to just be. around there
Yes.
and doing things with monkeys and yeah. So yeah, that's really the plan. I just yeah, I have some exciting things coming up. I'm working on a whole program, a transformative program. So 6 to 8 weeks. I haven't fully mapped that out yet, but like a transformative program, and working very closely with individuals that want to really, take that step and make some big changes in their lives and with their body, mind, and spirit, like the whole kit and caboodle. And
Yeah.
so I'm really excited to be bringing that into fruition. And yeah, I have all kinds of different events and things popping up and little day retreats and stuff like you.
What has been the greatest lessons in your personal awakening? Yes.
Looking in the mirror. It's facing myself. The greatest
Mm,
lesson is stop looking outside and look within.
mm,
Realizing that, like, sometimes I am the problem. Sometimes I am the solution, though, too. And I think that was my biggest lesson, is that, like, I got stuck in some of those like victim mentalities where, oh, it's somebody else, it's not me, it's this, it's that. But when I start to realize, it's like, what am I bringing to the table, though? What is
mm,
it I'm bringing to this, and how can I shift this, and how can I learn from this and grow from this? And I think that was like my biggest transformation, is just like, it all starts with you. It all starts with you. We can't, it's accepting, like that saying, excuse me, is like accepting the things that I cannot change.
mm.
But the things that we can change are our reactions to situations.
Right.
So I think that was probably my biggest lesson, is like, okay, I can't control this, right? Because a lot of times I just wanted to control things because it felt
Yeah.
safe to control. If I try to control that, but that's not the reality. You can't control people, you can't control situations. Life happens, it's going to keep happening, it's going to smack you down sometimes. So what do you do in those moments? How do you survive those moments? Or, and it starts with you. How am I going to react to this situation? That's what you have the power in. And it's finding that power within yourself to use maybe a different way, to react
Mm.
maybe differently. Um, yeah. Hope for a better outcome
Awareness.
with that. Awareness,
Awareness.
back to awareness. Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's huge. So yeah, that was probably one of my biggest defining moments, is like, all right, Fallon, we need to sit down, we need to talk, me and you, we need to have a conversation here. Did you do the
I love
best you could in that situation, or could we have done better?
Yeah, I love it.
So
Thank you for sharing that, because
yeah,
that really opens up the Pandora box and be like, hey, what's going on? Why
yeah,
am I doing these things? How can I how can I change? How can I be better, right? Because at the end of the day, we all want to be good human beings, right?
hmm,
It's just sometimes we kind of weave in through the bed,
we
kind of
have
got to pull
challenges.
in back to we have challenges. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could leave listeners with one message about healing and transformation, what would that be?
Be open. Be open to the process, I think, is like, you know, trusting. And trusting's a big word, but I mean, I'm gonna leave you with this. I love this analogy, and it's be the buffalo. Be the buffalo. So a buffalo in a storm, you got a big storm coming around you, and sometimes it's like you just want to run from it. You want to pick up whatever kind of things to help you not deal with it, or you just want to run, you want to take off. But the buffalo will actually turn towards the storm, and it's going to face it, and it's going to go right through it, because it knows that if it goes through it, it's going to get through it quicker, and it's not going to linger. And then you're back to the sunshine and the beautifulness. So be the buffalo. Be the buffalo and try to face those storms. And you know what? You don't have to do it alone. And there's so much love and community out there. Sometimes it might be hard to find initially, but there's people out there that are willing to help and help get you connected. And yeah, just finding that support and that love around us, because it is all there. It is all there.
And you're not alone. You're never alone.
Not alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fallon, thank you so much for
Thank you.
journey that you shared with us. Again, I think you, for me personally, I think you hit a lot of points, and I
Mm,
can relate to a lot of these topics that you shared with us.
mm.
So thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you too. Thank you for allowing me in your space. And it's been super great chatting with you. So thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.